disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico. The rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil was the man who discovered the saucer.
What I thought was a star began coming in my direction at a very rapid rate of speed.
The unidentified object, which some sources thought might be a blimp, moved slowly down the Pacific coast from Santa Monica and disappeared south of Long Beach.
I saw a UFO, and it went down the river, turned right at the United Nations, turned left, and then down the river.
UFO classified. UFO classified. No more plausible deniability. Fact, fiction, or the truth. You decide. And now, the new voice of the high desert, the hostess of UFO Classified, Erica Lukes.
Well, happy Fantopia Friday, my friends. It is the holiday season, and I hope you and yours are having a wonderful time. The weather here is, well, we were supposed to get a huge snowstorm, like 83 inches in the Wasatch Back, but we really got nothing. This is quite disappointing. But it is quite balmy and lovely, and I must say that I am missing my research partner, Jeffrey Cox, who is actually listening. He's over in Japan tonight. I want to give him a shout out. And, you know, Jeffrey, I'm telling you, you miss all the good stuff when when you're away. So you need to not take such long vacations. I need somebody to call and lament to, but man, things have been quite interesting in my world the past week. We have definitely seen some really bad behavior in the field exemplified a lot. And I feel the past week with everything, if you are my Facebook friend or you've been seeing any of the dialogue within the quote unquote UFO community, you definitely see that there's stuff going on. There's a lot of discontent, but I must preface that by saying there's discontent between a group of about 10 people and then myself and a few others. And so in the grand scheme of things, is it a big deal? No, it's certainly not, but it does highlight the judgment, the bullying, and the intimidation that unfortunately we see in this field, and has really taken a lot of good researchers out of the field. I know personally in my work, there's not a day that goes by that I don't talk to people in the field, and we're talking people that have written amazing work, that have published amazing contributions, and these people don't want anything to do with this field anymore. And I remember listening to Dr. Jacques Vallée speaking at UFO Congress, and we all know that he doesn't make a lot of public appearances, but he did state, as he has stated numerous times before, that coming into this field is just, there's a lot of behavior that would prohibit somebody that wanted to do credible work from coming into it. And I really feel it is not the fact that we have all these charlatans and hoaxers in the field. It is actually because we have a small group of really disrespectful people who resort to bullying and intimidation to try to discredit people. I will definitely talk a little bit about what Kurt Collins from the Roswell Research Group has written about me this week, and I shouldn't even give him the time of day, but I'm going to just address this really quick. He wrote a little blog post about me and the Facebook page for MUFON and my association with Jaime Maussan and all of this stuff. I mean, just, it's like really, in the grand scheme of things, if this is all you got, that's a little pathetic, but whatever. It was shocking to me, because if you're trying to do good work and you're writing a blog post, you should do a little fact checking. That's all I'm saying, because I don't think he got one thing in that article right. And that leads me to kind of question what kind of work he does with the Roswell Research Group. I don't know. What do you think? Anyway, I know that I'm just going to go out there and say this while we are waiting for my guest tonight. But when I interviewed Jaime Maussan for MUFON Radio, I did that on behalf of MUFON Radio. And I absolutely did the best I could to present both sides, including Kurt Collins' side. And everyone that knows me or knows the situation, and I've said this before publicly as of late, I spent time speaking with Kurt so I could try to represent his point of view, which is something that he has not had the same courtesy to do with me. So at this point in time, I definitely feel that we've got these polarized sides. And I think that if you're getting into this and you're looking at this field and you're actually wanting to be productive and contribute or research, or you have an experience you want to share, I definitely think that there are places that you can go and places that you shouldn't go. And this highlights the places that you shouldn't go because you're not going to get supportive or acceptive behavior in that group. And that's absolutely the truth. I'm speaking it, and I know it is nothing that, everybody that I've talked to agrees. This crap has got to stop because it demeans every single one of us. So there you have my lecture for this evening. I feel so much better. I'm telling you, this is good. So without further ado, now that we have got Tom on the phone, I want to just talk to you about Tom because he has been a really wonderful man that I've been communicating with for quite some time. And he sent me some of his books. He's got 2 books out now, and he sent me one a while ago, and I absolutely love it. It's called They Are Here, East Coast UFOs Volume 1, and then I just received They Are Here, Central U.S. UFOs Volume 2, and they are wonderful, and he has a sweet little comment on the very front to me, and I love that, but it's so fun to have him on here because he is really working his tail off to provide good research with regard to the orb phenomena with different UFO sightings clusters. He is a technician with the U.S. Navy and has worked for Honeywell for 42 years. That's a long time. He is a certified meteorologist and HVAC engineering resource. He's got certifications in both of those. He has a wide-ranging expertise with a keen awareness of physics, computer, and internet software, and a broad knowledge of electronics and how it intersects with the paranormal world and UFOs. Tom remains a vital scientific resource on extreme paranormal encounter response team and embraces the wealth of information and theories that embody the title of ufologist. Over the past 3 years, he has written a collection of blogs based on aspects of ufology. He has studied and researched UFO sightings reports from the entire U.S. East Coast, and he can talk on any of these subjects. This is really cool. You guys have to go to Amazon to get his book. He is doing multiple speaking engagements, and I have to say that Cheryl Costa, who does great work as well on the same things that we're studying here, told me that I had to take very good care of him. So I have been put on notice, and I will do that. And Tom, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Erica. It's great to be here.
I know. I'm so excited. And it was very cool to meet your cute little furry baby today over Skype.
Oh, she's a cutie. She's so much fun. She's about 10 weeks old now, and learning all kinds of stuff.
That is so cute. And I'm so happy to have you on here because I think of you often and I think about the great work that you're doing. And this is exactly what we need to be doing. And there's so many things in here. And I know that, I hope that everybody listening tonight will go to Amazon and order these books. I really have to say that because you've been researching exactly what my interest is in with regard to the orb phenomena. And let's talk a little bit about how you got into this.
Ooh, long story. Okay. Well, I've always been interested in UFOs, and from the time that I was a child, I just knew that UFOs were extraterrestrial related. I just knew it. I mean, they had to be, at least in my own mind, and that was as a child. Then, of course, life got in the way, and I had a wife and 2 children, and a whole long career with the Navy and Honeywell. And well, I ended up retired about 7 or 8 years ago. I retired at 62 and a half, and I was bored. I had nothing to do. So I thought, well, I've always been interested in ghosts, so let me just join a paranormal team and maybe I can play around there. Well, as it turned out, this particular paranormal team was looking for someone to talk about UFOs, because a whole lot of paranormal people still feel that that's a paranormal event. I think it's different, but they are looking towards paranormal as the origin of UFOs. Well, anyhow, so I said, well, I've been studying this for years, and let me do that job for you. So that's how I became a ufologist. Self-declared, boom, here you're a ufologist. My job at that point was to create a body of work. So what I did was I took each particular aspect of what someone would see or try to understand from a UFO and break down the physics, make it seem simple so that everyone would understand it, and just write about that and try to expand upon it so that everyone would totally understand at least that particular aspect of physics. And I tried to pick something out from each particular sighting that interested me and write about it. Well, 30 blogs later, I have a whole lot of information on what I think is the whole nature of UFOs. Plus, I would hope that whoever may happen to read these blogs, and they are not published at this point, but whoever may happen to read these blogs would be able to have the level of understanding that would approach someone who has always been in the science field, just so that they'd really understand what they may be looking at and what it might require for an extraterrestrial civilization to make it here, which is a big deal. Okay, so yes. I did that, the blog thing. Okay, and then after I did that, I thought, well, I really love talking to people. I just love getting up and giving speeches. So let me study this UFO thing, and I happened to come across the National UFO Reporting Center database. Thousands and thousands of sightings from people, some really good sightings, others not so good. But I saw this humongous database, and I thought, well, maybe I can create some topics to talk about. So I started writing what I would consider a report on New York State. Realized that once I did this, I thought that I stumbled across something that nobody's really been talking about, at least not a lot anyhow. And those were fireballs in the sky. Now, I realize I'm going in different directions here. Let me try to grab the term fireball and bring that back to where I'm going. A fireball can take one of two kinds of availability for someone to understand. Okay, a fireball can be a meteor, a crashing meteor into the Earth atmosphere, burning up, leaving a trail of debris, so either blowing up in the sky, burning up completely, or smashing into the ground. That's one type of fireball. Another type of fireball, which I happened to see, was these balls of flame in the sky, and it was just the oddest, strangest thing I've ever seen in my life. These balls of flame were just drifting across the sky, made a maneuver. Now, this isn't something that would happen with a meteor. It actually made a turn. It turned upward at about a 45-degree angle and disappeared behind some clouds. Wow, I had no words for what I just saw, right? Well, lo and behold, there's two more coming along. Coming from the north, which is pretty much from my direction, over the city of Troy, New York, and coming down the Hudson River. You can pretty much tell that that's where they were because of the geography here. And two more, and they came across the sky, and I was watching them. They looked like a burning ball of flame. That's just a ball of flame. You couldn't tell if there was a craft there. It was just a ball of flame. And they came a certain distance, and in the exact same spot in the sky made the exact same maneuver that the first group did. But whoa, what's this? Well, after several times this happened, in groups of 2, 2, 1, 2, and 2, by the time the last group came, thank goodness, I had said to myself, where in the world are these things coming from? They got to be coming down the river, but I don't remember seeing them from down the river because I'm looking right up it. So I was staring at that spot in the sky. I said, I am not going to blink until two more of these things show up. And they were staring and staring, and all of a sudden, pop, they just popped on right in front of me. Just boop, there they were, and they performed the exact same maneuver, and that was the end of it. Really, really weird. Now, these are the things that people were reporting all over the state. And I didn't realize until after I had written this report, that there seemed to be a collection out west, Buffalo, New York. And there also seemed to be a collection in Long Island, a larger collection than in any of the other cities. So I thought, well, it would be helpful if I did a map. So I went back 5 years, because at about the 5-year point from when I first started looking at this, which is the end of 2015, I went back 5 years to the very beginning of 2011 and put each of these sightings on a map. Lo and behold, the ones out west I noticed were all clustered around Lake Erie. And the ones to the south were all clustered around the Atlantic Ocean. And I said, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on here? Is there a water connection with these things? What the heck is happening?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, really. And about the same time, I told you this was a long story. And about the same time, I had read a book. The name just left me. I'll have to look it up. But I'll find it here in a few seconds. But this book was about orange orbs. And the description...
Probably the one that was written by Terry Ray.
Terry Ray, yeah, that's it.
Yes, yep.
Okay. And one of his descriptions was he thought that there was a base or bases in the southern portion of the United States, maybe in Gulf of Mexico, and out in the Atlantic Ocean, perhaps on the other side of the Bahamas. Well, I thought, well, I'm not really sure what's happening here, but I've gotten my information so that I can do a couple of talks. Well, lo and behold, right after I more or less said that to myself and said, oh, my, this research was awful, I'm done. Somebody called me from Pennsylvania and said, we'd like for you to come to our paranormal conference and talk about UFOs. And well, I realized they were in Pennsylvania, so I thought, well, all right, fine. Let me do the same thing for Pennsylvania that I did for New York. So Pennsylvania doesn't have a large exposure to water other than in Erie, PA, which is right on Lake Erie, and in the far southeastern corner, which is Philadelphia, which is out towards Maryland. So I didn't expect to see the same thing. So I thought, but anyhow, let's just see what I get, because I have to go talk about it, and we'll see what I can talk about. Lo and behold, Pennsylvania showed me pretty much the same thing. Large collections of fireballs that people are seeing centered around cities. And I said, this is something going on here. I'm onto something. I'm not sure what I'm onto, but perhaps it would be a good idea to take a look at the rest of the East Coast. That's what started me on the book. But even at that point, I didn't want to write a book. I don't want that nonsense. I don't want to deal with that. Let me just try to write reports for each state. Well, the reports got so large and so voluminous, I had a book, and I figured I had to just go with it. Okay, fine. Here's a book. So not only did I look at that, okay, with this database that covered each state in the union, I tried to take the sum total of all of the different sightings, and there are about 50 things seen in the sky that people are reporting. 50, okay? That's a whole lot of different things. I couldn't make a graph on that. So the only choice I had was to try to combine them, make something that was almost still be graphable, that people could see, and repeatable from state to state so that they can be compared.
Oh my gosh. And I've got to just say, we're getting ready to take a quick break, but I knew this was going to be a great conversation, and this is right up my alley. And so I am happy to have you here. I want to tell everybody you can find Thomas Conwell's books. They Are Here, and They Are Here, Volume 2 on Amazon. So make sure you get those. It is packed full of great information. I'm Erica Lukes. We're going to take a break, and we will be right back.
Stand by. This is UFO Classified with Erica Lukes. Erica Lukes. The phone lines are open now at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. More UFO Classified. UFO Classified with Erica Lukes on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. After this. Where'd that shot come from? Alpha 3 to Eagle 1. We've got company.
From Tay Publishing, codename Eagle Force. The saga begins.
I see them, Alpha 3. All units stay low and let them come.
From the eyes of a special ops officer, Joe Michael Riggy brings to life this amazing story of survival, the unknown and the unexpected.
Here they come. Hold your fire. Hold. Now.
Codename Eagle Force at TatePublishing.com.
Now, broadcasting in digital HD radio.
What if maintaining a healthy weight was as simple as drinking a cup of coffee? With Valentis coffee, it's that easy. Harvested from the world's most pristine coffee farms and packed with the purest ingredients on earth, Valentis takes losing weight to a completely new level. At Valentis, we believe everyone deserves a chance to be healthy and fit. It's pure, natural, healthy, and delicious. Click the Valentis Healthiest Coffee banner on the KCOR Digital Radio Network website and take the Weight Loss Guarantee Challenge. Valentis Coffee, simply the world's healthiest coffee.
When danger is imminent, will you be prepared? Now many mobile devices can bring you critical information from local sources you trust. With the unique sound and vibration, wireless emergency alerts keep you in the know wherever you are. Learn more at ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Monday nights are about to become hauntingly good, as Reverend Sean Whittington possesses the airwaves with Vegas Supernatural. Tune in every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern for Vegas Supernatural, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. There's a war raging between good and evil. The question is, which side are you fighting on? Tune in Monday nights as Reverend Sean Whittington sets the new standard for paranormal radio with some of the most influential personalities in the world today. Vegas Supernatural, hosted by Reverend Sean Whittington. every Monday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The one show even the devil doesn't want you to hear.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring. Why?
Anyone?
Because they were huddled around the fire, listening to the KCOR Digital Radio Network, home for the holiday special. Brilliant! Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, Christmas Eve, it's commercial-free holiday music.
Yes, this Christmas music. It's joyful and triumphant.
Our gift to you from the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
If ever a breed was affectionate to a fault, it's the Golden Retriever. They're people dogs, pure and simple. And the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada needs your help. If you would like to volunteer, foster, adopt, or donate, go to the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada's website at grrsn.org. That's grrsn.org. Or call 598-GOLD. That's 598-GOLD.
I would like to introduce.
I'm Dave Dalton.
And I'm Dave Garrity. And I'm Devin Dodson. From our family to yours, happy holidays.
From Three Guys, No Ties on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Well, isn't that special?
Merry Christmas.
You're listening to UFO Classified with Erica Lukes, where the truth isn't hidden beneath the black lines of a Sharpie.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
To be on with Erica, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio.
Radio contact.
Share your thoughts on the show on Twitter by using hashtag KCOR. Or head over to the live chats at KCORradio.com.
The audience goes nuts.
And now, your host of UFO Classified.
Are you ready?
Erica Lukes.
Well, welcome back, everybody, and happy Fantopia Friday. I'm Erica Lukes, always happy to be here on the best network this side of the Mississippi and on the other side of the Mississippi. Whatever that means, I'm not quite sure, but that's okay. This is KCOR, and I want to just give a shout out to my excellent producer, Tina Marie. She rocks and does a great job. I'm so proud to be at this network. And I want to say hello to all of my friends out there, Susan and Ted. And I've got people that are contacting me every day. I had somebody from New Zealand saying that he's listening to the show and he's really excited about it. So this is cool, you guys. Keep up the good work, spreading the momentum. Make sure you message me and tell me your stories and give me suggestions for guests, because I am doing this for you. So I want to bring you good guests. And speaking of, next week, I will be having Fran Ridge back. He will be talking about NICAP and MADAR and new advancements in anomalous detection. This is going to be very cool. And as most of you know, Fran Ridge has been in this field a long, long time, and he has not done a lot of radio shows. So this is a treat to have him here. And then the week after that, Stanton Friedman and Kathleen Marden will be joining me for a little Christmas weekend show. So that's all groovy, and I hope to have all of you here. But my guest tonight, I think, is incredibly brilliant. He's a great author, a great researcher. His name is Thomas Conwell, and you can find his books on Amazon. He has been researching the orange orb phenomena, among many other things. And Tom, welcome back. When we left off, you were just talking about fireballs and some of the things that you were finding with your research. So let's continue.
Okay. Well, we went from fireballs to looking at what else is in the sky. And because the database from the National UFO Reporting Center is so large, there's a whole lot of things being seen. There's probably 50 different things that people have said they've seen. And my task at that point was to try to get all of this stuff and put it into a graph. Well, you can't put it into a graph if there's 50 things. It just won't work. That's just, it's too much. So what I did was some of the different types of sightings I combined into other ones that I just labeled a name. Let me give you an idea. Cigar. Well, you can pretty much figure out what that is. Something that's in the shape of a cigar, it's cylindrical, and there's no wings apparent. Okay? And a disc. Well, we all know that what that is, a prototypical flying saucer. Fireball. I just described what a fireball was, two different types.
Right.
Lights. Well, this is the nebulous one, okay? This is the one that people have seen things in the sky that they know that they can't really see the shape of whatever's up there, but they know that the lights moving in the sky don't make sense, okay?
Right.
All right. So all of these, I put it into the heading of lights. Then we have shapes. Shapes are the weird ones. Diamonds, crosses, rectangular, and the ones that maybe don't even make sense, such as the ones that look like jellyfish, and it's just really weird stuff, okay? But there weren't that many when I went through the New York database the first time. So I thought, I could probably put these all into one grouping, and if something sticks out as I go through the database, then I'll look further. Okay, so right now it's just shapes. Spheres, well, a sphere, from tiny orbs looking in windows to huge spheres in the sky, and also include teardrops, ovals, and egg shapes, and under spheres. And then the last group is triangles, which are for the most part, a triangular-shaped craft. But in some cases, people swear that what they see is one solid object when, in fact, it may only be lights flying in that formation. I can't be certain, and their description doesn't talk me out of the fact that they're seeing maybe lights or spheres, so I have to go with triangles on that particular grouping. Now, I tried to graph all of these things together from New York State, and some interesting things popped up.
You know, and I have to, before you go into that, and I'm really sorry to cut you off, I've got a question from Susan, and she's wondering, while we're talking about different shapes of things, did you ever hear about boxcar UFOs?
Yes. I was able to interview a gal who told me that she saw something that was pretty much shaped like a shoebox, just flying through the air. And on the back end of it, it had this appendage coming out of it that was also looked just like a shoebox, but I guess in effect it was just the what looked like the letter L. It was flying at about 100 feet above her head, and it was probably about 800 feet long. And I asked her about 70 different ways to try to get her to trip up on her story, but she held true to that. Now, this is what she saw, and I'm absolutely positive of that. And it's what other people have described also. Absolutely, boxcar, shoebox, however you want to describe it, rectangular, square. I've heard of a lot of them.
Oh, that is interesting. And I'm just communicating with her in Facebook chat, and she's just saying that is exactly what she saw 35 feet off the ground. And that, I mean, this is interesting. It's so fascinating. And I'm sorry to get you off on this, but you were going into another, you were continuing with the conversation. So.
Okay. Well, anyhow, when I broke down New York, I put things into 7 different categories, and then I had another problem that I had to solve. New York State showed, at least the database did, reports from 1947 to the present. Now, how am I going to put all that into a graph each year? If I put it in each year, I'm going to have 75 points for each of the cardinal points I'm looking at. That would be impossible. So what I did was I broke it down, more or less divided the database in a quarter. And for each group of time, I included what what the particular heading was, what shape, let's say, and how many sightings would be equal in the 4 groupings. So let me give you an idea. In shapes, I went from 1947 all the way through 2001, and that was in one grouping. I put them all in one grouping, and the reason I did that is because 2013 to 2015 was the 4th grouping. They had the same amount of sightings as 47 to 2001. So if I was going to compare them, an increase between this and that, I had to compare apples and apples with the same amount of sightings. So I had no alternative but to break them out that way. So I did that with each of the 7 sightings and created a graph, and lo and behold, put it on a piece of paper, and it all became clear what people are seeing in the sky during what time of reference. And if you remember looking at my graphs, Erica, you probably noticed that they're just so self-explanatory of what's being seen when.
They are.
And that's why I wanted to do it, because it was the simplest way, yet at the same time provided the most possible information.
Isn't that incredible? I mean, I love this, and I love the fact that you're doing the same type of work that, I mean, Cheryl is doing something similar, and my friend Robert Spearing is, and then we are here in Utah looking at all of this data, and it's just incredible what opens up. And I'm so excited for you that you have worked so hard on this.
Yeah, I'm not so excited for myself because it was a lot of work.
I know.
Yeah. But after I did volume 1, I said, oh boy, I got to take a break. And then when I went into volume 2, I don't want to talk about that yet, but when I went into volume 2, I said, I'm leaving something on the table. I'm not talking about things. And what that was some of the comments that I had heard back during abduction interviews, which were that the people have been given messages that we have to be better shepherds of our planet. We have to do a better job with pollution. Well, that's when volume 2 doubled in size, and I looked into pollution as one of the items in addition to what I just described for volume 1. I did that for volume 2, and also at the same time I looked at nuclear plants because there were a whole lot of sightings in and around them, and I also went into Native American influences and didn't know what that was going to occur. Oh man, did that ever open some doors? I am shocked what I found with that one. Okay.
And we are excited to hear it because this is the same, thing that I talked to. I mean, I've had Ronnie LeBlanc and like I was saying, Bob Spearing, and a lot of these really brilliant minds are thinking exactly the same thing. So we've got to hear what all of this.
Oh boy. Okay. Do you want me to continue on with volume 1?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Because what I did then was look at the Hudson Valley of New York. And back in the 80s, 85, 86, 87, there was the Hudson Valley triangle sightings, which were absolutely humongous triangles that were just drifting over the thruway and over some of the roadways that were seen by thousands and thousands of people. It was a big deal. A lot of books were written on it. And again, that's the reason why I wanted to get into this kind of data, because there's been so many books written about individual things. And I didn't want to get into individual things. There's so many people who have done a great job with that. If I tried to do the same thing, I'd just be one of a group. Okay. I wanted to do something different. So I wanted to look at the big picture instead of the little one. Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. With the Hudson Valley, that was pretty interesting. I described the what I did with the graphs before and breaking them out into groups. Now, back in the 80s is when there were a tremendous amount of triangles seen over the Hudson Valley. Wouldn't you know it that the graph for triangles that went from 1957 all the way up to 2015 was exactly inverse of the graph that's shown for fireballs. Well, I thought that's interesting. Okay, why is that? And I put that in the back of my mind. There's something going on here. Okay, I happened to find out that in after I did about maybe about 40 of these things so far, that the fireball sightings seems to be exactly inverse of the disc sightings. In other words, way back, people were seeing discs, flying saucers going through the air. Now they're seeing these fireballs. And they saw a whole lot way back and very few now. And it's exactly inverse for fireballs. And that was true for almost every single graph that I did.
Isn't that curious?
I can't help but wonder at this point if this is yet another type of cloaking, so to speak, hiding of the discs so that they don't look threatening. I mean, because when you see a fireball in the sky, you look at it and you stare at it and your jaw drops. This is gorgeous. This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. Instead of, oh my goodness, they're coming to get us. You know? I mean, you have to think about it that way.
Yeah.
And I can't help but wonder if they are one and the same. I can't help but wonder that.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many questions that come up. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Also found out that in reading, I probably read about, let me give you a number, probably about 40,000 UFO reports so far from the National UFO Reporting Center that people have written. Some of them, like I said, are nonsense, but there's some really good ones in there. And some of these are so good that it makes you almost scared. What these things are doing in the sky is someone will report seeing a disc, and then right in front of their eyes, there'll be a flash of light, and the disc will all of a sudden be a long cigar-shaped device. And then maybe go behind a cloud and come out with multiple fireballs that fly off in different directions. Are they all the same? Maybe they're all the same, and they're all cloaking in different ways. Another thought. I have no idea what they are, okay? But boy, oh boy, I would love to sit down and talk to somebody who knows, because I have 1,000 questions for them.
So who else have you reached out to as far as researchers that, besides Cheryl, who else is doing the same type of thing that you are, that you put your heads together with?
Okay, I haven't done any co-research with anyone. You have to understand, I'm new to the UFO field, so to speak. Okay, even though I've been interested since I was a little kid, as far as ufology goes, I'm still a newbie, and I don't know people. Okay, so I'm pretty much doing my own research, and what I did while I was working with Honeywell is manipulate and study databases and understand what those databases are telling me. That's why when I saw this database from the National UFO Reporting Center, I said, I finally feel at home, a database. So just all this data, and I said, there's got to be trends, there's got to be something here. And I just went into it and did not collaborate with anyone.
I mean, for somebody who's a newbie in the field, are you kidding me? You are such an asset, and I would think you would have been in this for a long, long time. I think you have a lot more insight and intuition about this than most people that have been in the field for 40 years.
Well, I don't know about that, but I sure have studied it, and I haven't taken my nose out of the book since I opened it and decided this is what I wanted to do. I've really kept my nose to the grindstone, trying to find every possible trend that they could tell me, and they meaning the database.
And that is incredible. And that's what when I started Project Orange with MUFON, it was because I could see these trends in the database, and I was shocked that nobody else was doing that. I mean, it's obvious, if you're getting, as a state director, if you're seeing the same type of sighting in the same location for decade after, there's a pattern here. Let's try to figure that out. But, it was very interesting because you've also got this kind of the American mindset, I think, more so than in other countries where it is that single case, like you were talking about, the Holy Grail that we're waiting for. And I mean, the Holy Grail has come and gone a lot of different times, and I've said this before, but the Phoenix Lights, if that wasn't a Holy Grail case, then I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you, but the key is in the data. And we have to look at that. We have to be able to obtain funding and then get people like you and myself out into the field to do field research.
Well, yeah, that I know it's necessary. Right now, I'm dealing with what I have to deal with, and seeing that database is so voluminous, I think that there's a whole lot still to be taken out of the database. And I actually expect to find some different things as I start looking out west, because I saw changes in what I was seeing from the East Coast to the central U.S. I mean, there were changes. And from the central U.S., I saw, as I went to the western section of what I considered the central U.S., then I saw a difference between there and perhaps Illinois. So I can't wait to see what I'm going to find when I get out into Colorado, Utah, Nevada, and California.
Well, I can't wait till you get out to Utah. I mean, because it is, and you can tell us what the differences what differences are you starting to see?
Okay. Pretty much on the East Coast, I saw massive quantities of fireballs, which I described to you. Mm-hmm. I saw the inverse relationship between disks, where they were seen early but not recently. I saw a continuously high amount of sightings of lights in the sky. I think that's probably going to be anywhere. Spheres in the sky, that has changed, okay? From the East Coast, there was a reasonable amount of spheres seen in the sky, but as I started towards the central U.S., then that number started to go up based on comparison to other states. In other words, the farther west I went, the more likely I was going to see the incidence of spheres in the sky. As I got toward the western end of the central U.S., that's when things were almost predominantly spheres and triangles. But that wasn't true over the Great Lakes. Over the Great Lakes, they were predominantly fireballs and triangles.
Wow.
So I don't know. And then also what I did in Volume 2, and again, I'm not trying to talk about that one because I don't want to yet, but Volume 2, I created a map. I got a great big map of the United States, and over the last 5 years, I put pins And I think I sent you some of those pictures.
Yes, and I love you. And I just have to say that Jeff Cox would be, I mean, we are right there with you on that. That is the coolest thing I've seen.
Well, this great big humongous map. Okay, I put a black pin in for a sphere, a red pin in for a triangle, I think, and a yellow pin for. And now I'm confused. I don't really recall.
You
I'm
put
gonna have to
pins
look
in?
at the,
Well, you know, that's all right.
I'm gonna have to look at the map. But anyhow, I saw how things were changing from the central U.S. when I went from the east to the west, where you'd have a predominantly one color, which were black for fireballs, in the eastern section in and around the Great Lakes. And as you went to the central portion of the central U.S., then there were fewer fireballs and more spheres. And as you went to the western section of the central U.S., there were almost predominantly spheres and triangles and virtually no fireballs.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk to you when we get back. We have to take a break.
Okay.
I am Erica Lukes, and this is Fantopia Friday here on KCOR. We will be right back with the second half of UFO Classified.
Listen very carefully.
This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem.
This is UFO Classified, live every Friday night, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The truth is out there, just waiting to be discovered.
And now, if you will, accompany me on a journey to the future.
For more information on the host of UFO Classified, Erica Lukes, upcoming guests, as well as links to the past shows,
visit her website at ufoclassified.com.
UFO Classified.
UFO Classified.
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51.
Wait, that doesn't exist.
This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.
Broadcasting in digital HD radio.
The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil was the man who discovered the saucer.
What I thought was a star began coming in my direction at a very rapid rate of speed.
The unidentified object, which some sources thought might be a blimp, moved slowly down the Pacific coast from Santa Monica and disappeared south of Long Beach.
I saw a UFO, and it went down the river, turned right at the United Nations, turned left, and then down the river.
UFO Classified.
UFO Classified.
No more plausible deniability. Fact, fiction, or the truth. You decide. And now, the new voice of the high desert, the hostess of UFO Classified, Erica Lukes.
Good evening and welcome back. Happy holidays to you and yours. I'm Erica Lukes on the best network on the planet, KCOR. Thank you, everybody, for listening tonight. I know that this is a show that you are excited about. My guest is Thomas Conwell, who has authored 2 books that you need to get. They are here, East Coast UFOs Volume 1, and they are here, Central U.S. UFOs Volume 2. You can get those on Amazon. And Thomas, welcome back. I knew I was going to totally dig having you on the show. This is so cool.
It really is. I've been looking forward to this since I sent you the book the first time. I said, I can't wait to be on our show. Well, here I am.
I know. Oh my gosh, I love it. And it's so fun to find people that have contributed such important work. I mean, I look at all of this and analyzing a database is a tedious and very lengthy process. And so, my hat is off to you. This is very, very cool. But we were kind of talking about the different places in the country where you would see different shapes of objects. And that to me is intriguing. What is your feeling on that? And I know you're analyzing data and it's hard to come up, but if you had, what is your gut feeling?
Okay, gut feeling. I believe that there's probably several different shapes of things that are up in the sky, and that many of what we see is morphed from something of these basic shapes. The spheres, especially, things from spheres morph into all kinds of other objects. And for the most part, any of the descriptions that I've read show somebody seeing a sphere that goes into a different shaped object and not other shaped objects going into a sphere. Now, I don't know what the significance of that is, but that just seems to be the nature of the descriptions that I'm seeing. So I think the sphere is one of the basic shapes, and I think that rectangular devices are another kind of basic shape, rectangular, square, that kind of thing. And the ones that are crosses and jellyfish and whatever else, I have no idea what they are. But of these several different basic shapes, spheres and shapes, rectangular devices are two of the basic ones, and I'm not even including cigars, even though they're long and thin. I've seen people describe to me seeing several spheres and getting together, and then all of a sudden they have a triangular shape.
Yes.
I don't know what that's about, but I've read that on multiple different occasions. And if that's what's happening, then the sphere is the base of everything, or
Yes.
seems to be the base of at least most things. And that's probably one particular civilization. Probably.
Now, do you think that, because I've talked to a lot of different people about this, and some researchers who've been in this for a long time have noted that things have changed. The phenomena seems to have shifted over the decades. So, when you were seeing a lot of discs back in the 60s, 50s, 60s, that it goes to another type of phenomena and then something different. In my study of this, I have the one consistent has always been the sphere. And this has been something that is, this goes back to the earliest recorded history. It is always the sphere.
Makes sense. Things that were found back in the 50s and 60s were pretty much in your face, and they were almost exclusively discs. Even though some spheres were seen, of course, but almost exclusively discs. And then as the time went on, they went from discs to other type of objects that look like other things, even though I think they were all the same. Now, whether it's an actual change in technology that is allowing them to do that, or this is part of their plan of changing what people are seeing from early on to the present and maybe to the future when they'll actually reveal themselves. That could be part of the revealing process.
And that there could be, and it's interesting too, because we have you look at different cultures and they have different ways of describing things, and then you go back through, at the beginning of the century, and you look at the airship, the aeroplane, the fire balloon, the way that we use terminology, the ball of fire, glowing object, fireball. And so we've used lots of different words to describe the same types of objects. And even in my research, to look at some of, to go back and look at ghost lights or spook lights, it's all the same thing.
Sure. Yep. Same thing. Same. Things just haven't changed that much. That's why I would not be surprised if this was part of their slow disclosure process of making us or having us see one thing at one point and finding out that perhaps we didn't react very well to that. So they made things soft and smooth and not exactly threatening, like a sphere. A sphere isn't threatening, but if it had long pointy things coming from it, no matter what they were, oh my, that's threatening. Okay, so I would not be surprised if this whole thing is part of a reason to get us to think a certain way before they are disclosed.
And that's the thing, we just don't know. But I mean, it would seem to me that whatever these objects are, and I don't know if it's just that we have more access to media and the internet, but it would appear to me, and I know I'm not alone in thinking this, Peter Davenport feels the same way, as do other researchers, that these types of sightings are on the increase, specifically over populated areas. What is your take on that?
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly what's happening. In my map that I was putting pins in, several areas were so intense with intense with pins that I couldn't put pins in there anymore. So what I did was I got a bigger size pin and said, okay, the bigger size pin equals 20 little ones. And now that's just in the last 5 years. And the amount of sightings, it's just incredible, such as from Milwaukee, okay, down the west end of Lake Michigan, down through northern Illinois, Chicago, wrapping around the bottom of Lake Michigan to Gary, Indiana, and perhaps even partly up the other side to Battle Creek, Michigan area. Okay, that whole area, there's so many sightings that I couldn't use individual pins. I had to use the big ones, equaling 20. And again, this is something I never expected to have to do, but when I went looking for the larger pins that were colored, I couldn't find them. So I went out and bought boxes and boxes of the clear pins, the larger clear pins, and painted them and used that on my map. That's the only way I could create them, okay? But it all came together, and what I have now is a visual representation of what I've been giving you all those words for over the past hour, okay? Mm-hmm. You can just glance at it and see the progression of sightings. You can see the that larger cities have large concentrations, and that in several areas, which I noted in Volume 2, there was 2 areas, I think, that had more sightings than the population would have supported. And I figured that there's something else going on there. So that's when I started looking elsewhere. So I mean, this has been crazy. It's been a whole revealing thing that surprises me every day.
Oh, this is so cool. I love it. So you were talking about Native Americans and the connection. Let's get into that for a minute.
Okay. All right. Native Americans. Well, I didn't know much about Native American life. I mean, I really had I lived a very sheltered life. I'm just a guy, don't really pay much attention to my own, beyond my own life, okay? Didn't know much about Native Americans, except that there was a commercial back in the 80s, I think, or maybe even the 70s, of it showed pollution, air pollution, and at the very end there was this Native American, and there was garbage that was blown by the wind, and it came at his feet, and you saw the Native American's face, and there was a large tear coming down his cheek, okay? That stuck with me. really, really stuck with me. That stupid commercial, I can't get it out of my mind. Well, as soon as I heard the thing about that some of the abductees, and when they came back, were given messages, and all of the messages were the same: take care of your planet in various ways. Okay.
Right.
All of them. They're all the same message. And so the first thing I thought of, well, okay, I'm going to look at pollution, but I just have to look at Native American life because there has to be some sort of connection there. And that's all I knew about it. All right. So then I started looking at each state in the central U.S. And this was interesting because I learned a lot about geography, plus I learned a lot about pollution. There's some pollution in states that I never expected. Some states are really a mess, and I had no idea that was true. But I found out it was. Texas is probably the worst. But anyhow.
Oh, that's surprising.
Yeah. Even though I looked at each particular state, I also listed the Native American tribes that were representative in that state, and figured, well, I'll just search the internet for any Native American stuff, and under those tribe names, and I said, well, maybe I'll find something. Well, I searched through most of the states. I started with North Dakota, and then I went south all the way to Texas, and then worked my way back up towards the Great Lakes, and I finished in Michigan or something. Okay, but anyhow, what I found almost at the very end was a let me see. Let me get this for you. It was a website. Dog, you're gonna knock me offline. It was a website that had description of the teachings from way back that had been passed on from grandfather to son, and all the way through the years, through the thousands of years since this verse came out. Now, this particular story was oh darn it, I can't find it. Was about the here it is. Was about the Anishinaabe, which was the name of that the Indians called themselves, and this group of Indians were the Ojibwe tribe, Ojibwe. Okay. And you can search this on the internet for yourself. You'll find it right away. The description that they had for way back when was they said that there were 7 great radiant and iridescent Migis, M-I-I-G-I-S, also known as half human, half fish, symbolized by the egg-shaped shells, being appeared to the people of the land of the dawn to teach the people. And these 7 great beings gave them a system of governance and pretty much showed them how to live and how to create an organization within themselves. Right? That's basically it. Years later, something changed in this teaching. They went from talking about the half man, half fish that came out of the water to teach them to 7 grandfathers. And I thought that was interesting that they used the same number 7. So I didn't know if they had just changed the story because it was more believable, or what the deal was. But once I found that there were seven, that the story of the seven grandfathers came about, that I started researching that one. And I found a link between the seven grandfathers and the seven iridescent half man, half fish. There was a link, okay?
Wow.
So, yeah. So this particular link talked about how they taught the original Native American tribes from. This story came out of in the Nova Scotia area, and the reason that they ended up in Michigan was because they traveled from Nova Scotia down the St. Lawrence Seaway and across several of the Great Lakes and settled in Michigan. Not only did they just settle in Michigan, they were guided by their gods to settle in Michigan. And there are stories written about this. These stories happen to be the Seven Fires prophecies. Well, these prophecies, each one of them came true. They received all seven of them, okay? And each one came true as it came. The only one that didn't come true yet is the seventh fire. The seventh fire happens to be where we are today. And they said that there'll be a rebirth of this Anishinaabe nation. Again, this is what the Ojibwe called themselves, and a rekindling of old flames, or the old teachings. And they said the sacred fire will again be lit. And they said, it is this time that the light-skinned race, meaning, of course, white people, will be given a choice between two roads. If they choose the right road, then the seventh fire will light the eighth and final fire, an eternal fire of peace, love, brotherhood, and sisterhood. If the light-skinned race makes the wrong choice of the roads, then the destruction which they brought with them in coming to this country, you can read into that, meaning machinery and pollution, will come back at them and cause much suffering and death to all of the Earth's people. Global warming. So, yeah, so here we are, okay, right in the middle of the seventh fire, maybe the end of the seventh fire. Is there going to be a presto changeo in our environment? Something along the lines of, what was that movie, The Day After Tomorrow? I think it was.
I think so.
Where there was that major event because of basically global warming.
There have been so many like that. I don't know.
Yeah. So to bring that story home, I found a girl, and she is part of the Chippewa tribe. Her name is Cheryl Lynn Carter. And I talked to her at great length, asked her all kinds of questions about her teachings, what she was taught during their meetings, their sweat lodges, whatever else. And she verified everything that I said, as far as the seven grandfathers, as far as the teachings, as far as the seventh fire. And she also went one step further and said that the Indian nations that follow their lead will be taken from the earth, spared, and the earth will be reset. Now, that might be a slight, what's the word I'm looking for? Exaggeration? I don't know. But you have to wonder, oh my goodness, how true is this? You know, we're in the seventh fire now.
Right.
What's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm certainly not going to prophesy gloom and doom. But when you see this and read about it and hear about the seven great magus who came out of the water, and incidentally, at the same time that those seven great magus were teaching the people of the earth they were also teaching the people of Sumeria and the people of Dogon and the Hindu, and there's even stories about a half man, half fish out of Australia at the same time.
I mean, it doesn't it just blow your mind?
Oh, it really does. When I came across the 7 Great Magi story, I didn't have any words. I couldn't even go in and tell my wife what I found. I couldn't even talk. So I went in the front room and looked out the window and came in here and sat down and looked at my computer. And
oh my God!
I couldn't do anything.
I don't blame you. We've got to take a break. But this is so fun. My name is Erica Lukes. This is UFO Classified. I'm here with Thomas Conwell. We will be right back.
Stand by. This is UFO Classified with Erica Lukes.
Erica Lukes.
The phone lines are open now at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. More UFO Classified.
UFO Classified
with Erica Lukes on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. After this.
Ho, 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 ho. This is Tim Beckley, co-host of Exploring the Bizarre on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. And happy holiday, Merry Christmas, and a mighty good New Year to all of us here, to all of you there.
Three guys, no tie. Oh, but anyways, just a couple of things. Larry Bird's one of the 3 people to win 3 straight MVPs. He won 83, 84, and 85.
He was so smooth.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and
smooth.
and for us being white, it's kind of nice to have
one white guy in the NBA.
Somebody, hey, still couldn't jump worth a lick, but the guy's I think 6'9" or 6'10", so he didn't really have to very much.
3 guys, no ties. Wednesday night, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific. Right here on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Alien Deceptions, a suspenseful sci-fi romance thriller by Tina Marie, featuring the tantalizing Erica Jones and the mysterious Russell Hamilton. An out-of-this-world book of fiction based on years of document facts and files the government does not want you to know about, at least not yet. Alien Deceptions by Tina Marie. Available now at Amazon.com or get a signed copy at TinaMarieEntertainment.com. Get your copy now.
This is the world famous KCOR.
That's the only station I listen to.
Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific. Jump onto the Celestial Highway and travel at the speed of light. Into hyperspace. Hyperspace. Hosted by Solaris Blue Raven. She navigates you through the cosmic tides of mysticism into the world of covert technology, UFOs, mystical sciences, and the world of unforeseen forces.
You get to really sort of enjoy a bizarre ride.
Listen live, Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific.
For Hyperspace.
The one show that blows the whistle off our government black ops projects. Hyperspace. Hosted by Solaris Blue Raven.
Solaris Blue Raven.
Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Want to take a ride? Take a ride. Take a ride.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring. Why?
Anyone?
Because they were huddled around the fire, listening to the KCOR Digital Radio Network, home for the holiday special.
Brilliant!
Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, Christmas Eve, it's commercial-free holiday music.
Yes, this Christmas music. It's joyful and triumphant.
Our gift to you from the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
You're listening to UFO Classified with Erica Lukes. where the truth isn't hidden beneath the black lines of a Sharpie.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
To be on with Erica, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio.
Radio contact.
Share your thoughts on the show on Twitter by using hashtag KCOR. Or head over to the live chats at KCORradio.com.
The audience goes nuts.
And now, your host of UFO Classified.
Are you ready?
Erica Lukes.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Erica Lukes, wishing you and yours a very happy holiday season. I am always happy to be here on Friday Fantopia with my excellent producer, Tina Marie, who will be coming up in a little bit on Restricted Airspace, followed by Solaris Blue Raven. And I want to just say that next week you can join me, and I will be here with the one and only Fran Ridge from NICAP, who is a pioneer in this field. And again, I'm grateful to have him on the show. He is so excited. So tune in, tell your friends, and make sure you go to UFO Classified. Message me, give me suggestions. I love hearing from you. This is why I do this. So I am back now with somebody who I think is his work and research. We need to get this out here. It is vital. It's Tom Conwell, who has authored 2 books. They are here, and they are here, volume 2. You can find it on Amazon. But, oh my gosh, so you started working with and learning about the Native American culture and some of their oral traditions. And what you found was quite astounding. So let's continue where we left off.
Okay. I can't remember where we left off.
Well, then nobody else will either.
That's what happens when you're 69. You don't remember stuff.
Well, that's what happens when you're. I mean, I have no excuse, actually. But we were talking about the fact that we are living in the last days, and if the white man if we don't make the right decisions, then this is going to be very catastrophic for the planet.
Yeah, that has got to happen. If we continue to pollute at the rate we're polluting, we can, let's say by about 2050, if we stopped all fossil fuel use, we would still, our CO2 levels in the sky would still be increasing all the way through the end of the century. There's just that much out here. Once it starts to melt the permafrost, we are in deep doo-doo, because then it's going to be starting to release methane. And when that gets released, oh my goodness, that's about 7 times more polluting than CO2. And there's a whole heck of a lot of it stuck in the permafrost in Siberia and northern Canada. Oh boy, I just don't know.
And isn't that interesting though, when people have contact experiences? I mean, the big takeaway from this is most all of them are affected by what's happening with our climate, what's happening with our world. And this is very curious, and I know that Free has done great work with regard to experiencers and the things that they feel, and why does this happen? We don't know, but it's curious, and why is it leading many people into the same place at this pivotal time in the world?
Yeah, it looks like a funnel, doesn't it?
It does.
Everyone's looking in one spot, and that's our environment, and we've got to do something about it. We have got to. We're going to have some real serious issues here. Temperatures are going to be so hot you won't be able to go out during the day at all. It's going to be crazy.
It will be, and it's. I mean, all of this is. It's just so deep, and I'm really happy to talk about it. And I want to just talk a bit more about some of the sphere sightings, because we're seeing a lot of these different spheres over densely populated areas. And oftentimes I don't think people look up, they don't pay attention, which is alarming to me because we need to be active members of our community for multiple reasons. But, you see, typically when you see a sphere, there is more than one, and they're behaving in a certain way. What were your takeaways when you were looking at some of these sphere sightings?
Yeah. A lot of different things that I had seen. As far as let me get back into into what I put at the end of Volume 1, and that in my conclusions, I talked about fireballs, and some of the things that fireballs were being seen to do is they fly in set patterns, and the patterns are repetitive when there's groups of them. They all do the same thing and turn at the same place, and what the ones that I saw were actually it's so non-human. I don't know how else to say it, but they could have passed for projections. I wonder if they were. I just don't know, because they were all absolutely identical, and they all made the same maneuver at the same place at the same place in the sky, and did the same thing, appeared at the same place and disappeared. I don't know what to think. Okay, but anyhow, they do fly in set patterns, and they also appear in full view directly over cities, so that people can see them. I think they pop on so that people see them. Mm-hmm. They form in huge formations, maybe up to 50, and they'll go through the sky with a whole bunch of them just in the same position, and one or two of them flitting around like a fly. I always thought that was odd. Okay,
that is odd.
Yeah, they will collect over water. They're also seen traveling at a high rate of speed into the water and not making a splash, just as if they become part of the water. Yeah, right. I have no idea how they do that one.
So I have to ask you, are you seeing cases where they are capturing these objects on radar? Because I always hear, there are different, sometimes we will capture them on radar and sometimes we won't, but it is very interesting how many of these spherical objects are captured close to planes. Either pilots are reporting them or civilians on the ground are photographing them. This is quite interesting.
Well, as far as radar goes, I think they want to be seen when they want to be seen, and if they don't, they don't. They have that technology that they can be visually seen, but not picked up on radar, and sort of a stealth technology, I suppose. But if they want to be seen, they'll make themselves seen. And I think they do it for a reason. I know they have an agenda. I wish I knew what that agenda happened to be. But whatever it is, boy, oh boy, it's obvious what they're doing. They're making themselves seen in large quantities, directly in the sky, in fairly close proximity to other things that people can get a read on, like alongside a mountain, so you know how big it is, that kind of thing. And it's obvious they're doing it to be seen.
And it's curious, and I have to go back to the 1952 flap over Washington, D.C. It was the same type of objects, or the Battle of L.A. Some of these really historic sightings cases where you're seeing the same types of objects making very big displays. And they were prominent, and so at what point do we say, okay, yes, this is great? We've spent so many decades debunking this and working against each other that we're not making any progress, and we've got more data here that points us into this direction. What are we going to do to change the sentiment?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think the people that are debunkers are going to be a debunker, even if the thing lands on the White House lawn and they're watching it on CNN. It just won't be apparent to them, and they will never give in. They'll never say you were right or anything else. This is just their style. That's what's going to happen. I wish that there were some magical thing that I could say or do, but looking at the individual sightings, they're too easy to say, no, I'm sorry, you're mistaken. That really didn't happen, or it was a balloon, or that kind of thing. If you look at one sighting, but when you look at the whole picture, the humongous picture of 120,000 sightings within the United States and Canada, you got to say something is going on. A reasonable person would say something is going on. There aren't all idiots. Okay, so that's what I think. That is that's why I take the approach to look at the whole picture rather than to look at the individuals, because it's the only way that this is going to be proven. The only way.
Right. And sometimes I have to ask myself, and I talk to this with many other people in the field, it's like, at what point do we even care if this is proven? Because by the time we prove it to the skeptics, either the planet is going to be gone because of this threat or whatever this is, or, I mean, it's just, sometimes you feel like you're spitting in the wind. And if we work together with people that understand that there is truly something taking place and move forward with research from here, instead of wasting time with these people that are really adding nothing to the conversation, I think we might be better served.
Yeah, well, it'd be nice, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. We all have to look a little differently at things, and I do understand the importance that of looking at individual events and studying them to the hilt. You got to extract every bit of information possible from every event that happens. But I also think it's just one step more important to look at the big picture. We've got to all start looking at the big picture, because this is what's going on. And if MUFON had a more accessible, easier searchable database, something along the lines of the National UFO Reporting Center, then I think we would be 20 steps ahead of where we are, because then they're the shining city on a hill. Okay, right. That's where everybody looks. So if the information was simple to come out of there, then it would help everybody who's looking at it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that those of us who have been in MUFON and are out of MUFON agree with that. And I would really hope that at some point in time that they would be a little bit more accessible with their data. So we will hope, and in the meantime, we just have to work with others that have the same type of sentiment, because we know that there are certain areas these are appearing. Why are they appearing? What is the end game? And should we be concerned? Should we, is there an intuitive connection? Are these all light beings full of love and light? I mean, I don't know, but do you think that there is a conscious connection? Do you think that people can, like the Stephen Greer contingent or all the people that with the Rama group, do you think that people have a conscious connection and can vector in craft?
Ooh, boy, I'm out on a limb on this one.
Sorry to put you there.
Yeah, because I really don't know what to say. Have I seen any direct evidence? Well, no. One of the things I do want to do is there's a group locally that practices connecting.
CE5, yeah.
Yes, right. CE5, right. And I'm pretty good friends with the guy, and he's invited me out to several different weekends, and I keep finding other things to do, but I'm thinking that I've got to see for myself. I've just got to see.
You should, and I think that that's important. And I always, when so many people that that are in this community kind of scoff at the CE5 stuff. I mean, okay, we understand that Stephen Greer's associated with it, but there are many more people that have done this sort of contact stuff for a lot longer than Stephen Greer, and they've had some pretty profound experiences. And even Dr. Jacques Vallée will talk about the conscious connection. And many other researchers talk about the fact that whatever these objects are, they seem to be intuitive and have that intuitive connection. So at what point in time do we get beyond the nuts and bolts and then start looking at this in a greater perspective?
Yeah, in 3 of the abduction interviews that I did, people have sworn that they can call ships in whenever they want. And they swear to this day that they can do that. I haven't pushed them on it because I don't want to put them in any position like that. But they swear that they have almost a daily connection with some extraterrestrial entity. And there's 2 of them that I trust implicitly and know that they're not giving me a line. So does something exist there? I would say yes. Is it the CE5 deal? I don't know yet, but I'm sure that there is a mental connection, because this is how, in my opinion, based on what I've heard about various that people have told me about their abduction experiences, is that everybody that I interviewed who was abducted and swore that they were abducted are also extremely psychic. So that tells you that, okay, well, maybe this is how the extraterrestrials are finding them, because they're sending out, I don't know what they send out, but they're sending out something, and it's obvious, hey, there's another one, that kind of thing. That I have to think there's something there. I have to.
And we should, because this is such an unknown that, in my opinion, we've got to quit cutting off our nose to spite our face. And even in the UFO community, in MUFON, I mean, it was we're not going to talk about the paranormal. We're not going to talk about this or that. To me, that's quite silly, because all of this is connected.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's almost directly connected. I think there's still a little bit of a line of demarcation there, but when we go from the paranormal into spirits and extraterrestrials from another dimension, there's not a line there anymore. I'm thinking there may be the same. So
right, I think we need to quit classifying it. I think that's the problem.
Yep, absolutely.
We need to quit saying, well, this is putting a box on it. This is extraterrestrial. We really don't know that. Mm-hmm. Or this is a ghost. Well, we don't know that either. So, we need to kind of step back from all the classifications and say that there are things at work here. We don't know what they are, but they're exhibiting the same types of behavior. So how do we figure this out? But I think it's really kind of ignorant for us, though, to separate things, and dangerous in a way.
Sure. That would, if we're going, oh my goodness sake, this dog is driving me nuts.
Oh.
Okay. If we're going to allow this portion of the study into the UFO thing, then we're going to have to ramp up the knowledge, the sharing of information with paranormal groups.
Well, we're going to need to get some standards and protocols and ethics. I mean, we've got a lot of work to do because even in the UFO community, it's like I've heard this before. It's like the Wild West, but we need to really work together, and we need to demand that our colleagues behave respectfully and share information, because that's what we're all doing. We're all doing this. Well, most of us are doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. And I just have to say, I knew that I would absolutely adore having you on the show tonight. And I'm so excited that I did.
Oh, thank you for having me. This was so much fun to talk with you. So much fun.
My gosh, this is so much fun. And I have so many more questions for you, and I will be messaging you. And again, I just want to tell all of you out there, please go to Amazon. I've said this all night tonight, but there are, I think, very few people in research today that I find that are important. And I will say that Thomas is one of them, and his work is incredibly important. And I've talked about Dr. Massimo Teodorani, who's been on the show, and Fran Ridge is doing some great things. There are people that are doing good things. And so please don't get sidetracked with some of the nonsense that is going on and some of the idiotic behavior. But I mean, what are you going to be speaking anywhere coming up?
Well, see, I'm back to work now. I'm helping back at my old company, and I'm working nights. So I don't have a whole lot going until the spring. And in the spring, I have a bunch of things that I'm at least going to talk around here, and I'm going to make myself available for a bunch of different conferences. And I know I'll be speaking at each one of them. So
that's awesome. And I've just got one quick question in chat. Did you ever hear about, when you were looking through the data, anything that looked like a mirage that people would see?
Are they referring to something that would be seen inverted, or are they talking about something that would look like heat is going around it with kind of foggy look of it? Is that what they're referring to?
Well, in looking at this description from Mario, the weather cleared and the stars are visible. There was instantaneously he saw a fast-moving white translucent blob that looked to blur the clouds.
Okay.
And I mean, have you heard of that?
I've come across a couple. And they're generally type of either the rectangles or a sphere that is made to look like you can see through it. Even though I'm not really sure you're seeing through it, I think it's just partially obscured, almost like our technology today, where we can make something disappear. It's not quite disappeared. It's sort of like that. And I think that's probably what they're seeing.
Oh, interesting. Well, we will definitely, I will be connecting with you and then getting you in touch with my people, and your people can get in touch with my people. I mean, this is just so cool. I love this. I love it. And you have just really made my Friday night a wonderful night. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Mine too. This was a blast.
Yeah, and I just hope that all of you have a wonderful night. I am Erica Lukes, and I'm here every week to try to educate all of us, because this is the most important thing that I will do in my life, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So, happy holidays, my friend. I will see you next weekend with Fran Ridge. Have a good night.
Listen very carefully.
This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem.
This is UFO Classified, live every Friday night, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The truth is out there, just waiting to be discovered.
And now, if you will, accompany me on a journey to the future.
For more information on the host of UFO Classified, Erica Lukes, upcoming guests, as well as links to the past shows,
visit her website at ufoclassified.com.
UFO Classified.
UFO Classified.
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the digital radio.